the Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your copy of The Son of Man Speaks from these select locations. Sisters, Braid 2, 18070 Mount Elliott, the Shell gas station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road. To get a subscription, call 601-786-9788. That's 601-786-9788. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed. Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, now available. Your Son of Man Speaks magazine digital subscription. Your digital subscription to the Son of Man Speaks magazine will also include our monthly e-newsletter, both delivered to your inbox. If you have any questions regarding the digital magazine subscription or digital newsletter, you may send an email to shabazsprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. That's shabazsprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. Or call 1-601-786-9788. That's 1-601-786-9788. You can also subscribe online. Visit www.thenewnationofislam.com and click on the magazine tab to register for your online subscription.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
To make your online tithes, offerings, donations, gifts to the Son of Man through Cash App, make your payment to $New Nation of Islam. That's $New Nation of Islam. Or call 601-786-7056. 601-786-7056.
I just used your other one though today because it was, look, it did 2 drips and I was like, oh, I can use my umbrella. My homegirl was talking about it. I'm like, don't talk about it.
With our umbrellas, our customers are turning a drab day into a fab day. After all, representation matters. In other words, rain or shine, we've got you covered. Introducing Designs by Deej, your one-stop gift shop for all things handmade and unique. Our products range from our most popular umbrellas, blanket and pillow sets, handmade coasters, and other statement pieces that showcase the beauty of our melanin and natural hair in a beautiful and empowering way. You can find our brand at the sister shop locations in New Jersey and Atlanta, Georgia, or you can visit our website, www.designsbydeej.com. Again, that's www.designsbydeej.com.
Provides agency quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unified objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 342-2166. That's 313-342-2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Are your clothes coming apart at the seams? Universal Seamstress and Tailoring has got you covered. At Universal Seamstress and Tailoring, we specialize in a wide variety of alterations and transformations to make and keep your clothes looking and fitting their best. From hem jobs to downsizing suits and dresses for a perfect fit to replacing zippers and buttons, Universal Seamstress and Tailoring is your one-stop shop for clothing maintenance. Also, do you have a logo for your clothes you'd like to wear? Universal Seamstress and Tailoring can put it there. That's right. At Universal Seamstress and Tailoring, we not only do alterations, but embroidery as well. Shirts, pants, coats, hats, even bags. If you can wear it, we can embroider it. So remember, whether it be alterations or embroidering you need, Universal Seamstress and Tailoring has got you covered. Universal Seamstress and Tailoring is located at 1404 Main Street, Fayette, Mississippi. Come and see us or give us a call at 601-786-0540.
Year-round landscaping has been serving Metro Detroit for over 20 years, offering various landscaping, lawn care, property maintenance, and home renovation. Our professionalism has earned us an outstanding reputation, while our creativity, integrity, and dependability have kept our clients returning and referring us to others. At Year-Round Landscaping, we prioritize quality customer service. We treat every client as our only client before, during, and after providing our services. We believe in building solid relationships with our clients and ensuring their satisfaction. Whether you need a complete outdoor makeover, indoor renovation, or routine maintenance, we have the expertise and resources to deliver outstanding results. Our team is committed to providing exceptional service and completing every project to the highest standard. To schedule an estimate or consultation, please call us at 248-843-6139 or visit our website at yearroundlandscaping.net.
Year-round landscaping. One source, unlimited resources.
For elite carpet, floor, and upholstery cleaning, call Supreme Steam Cleaning. For pressure washing on your house and driveway, call Supreme Steam Cleaning. Flooding in your house or building? Supreme Steam Cleaning's got you covered with our emergency water extraction services. Transform the rooms in your home with floor installation, repairs, and more. Give us a call today at 601-720-5138. That's 601-720-5138. Visit our website, www.supremesteamclean.com, and follow us on social media at Supreme Steam Cleaning. When you need an elite team, call Supreme.
For all facets of professional hair care and braiding, come to Sisters Braid 2, located at 18070 Mount Elliott in Detroit. We specialize in braiding and natural styles, knotless box braids, feed-in braids, scalp twists for men, women, and children. We specialize in all facets of healthy hair. Try our natural oils to keep your hair healthy. 313-826-0498 or 248-372-1738.
Murray, out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray, he's the downfield.
Oh, man, the power's out again?
You have reached Quality Construction and Engineering, your #1 emergency generator source.
Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. With a backup generator, your life goes on uninterrupted with power when you need it. Not to mention the peace of mind of having your property suited to weather the storm.
Whoever would have thought in Houston, Texas, that we would have an ice storm? It did happen, and that Sunday night when it came in, I got up and looked out the front door. Everything was pitch black. It was horrible. Something out of a novel or a science book that you had never seen before. Once the lights went out, my generator popped on. It ran 55 hours. The only one had lights.
Get your backup generator installed with Quality Construction. We install both residential and commercial generators, so you're always covered. Schedule your consultation with us by calling 1-855-876-9370. That's 1-855-876-9370. Or visit us online at www.powerqec.com. That's www.powerqec.com. Financing is available with low monthly payments and 0% interest for 18 months.
That was the best investment that we could have ever made. That's my backup, the generator.
Generators with Quality Construction, built tough enough to weather the storm.
Capital Area Planning Services offers a variety of services catered to your land development needs. We offer landscape design, residential design, land planning, mapping and consulting services, and more. We have over 20 years of design and land planning experience. CAPS LLC offers services to developers, builders, architects, surveyors, contractors, government agencies, and private landowners. Feel free to contact us to find out which services are available in your area. You may reach us at 601-326-2966. That's 601-326-2966. You can also visit us on the web at www.capsllconline.com. Let us put on our thinking caps to serve your land development needs.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read? And if you're reasonably sure, have you ever tested that what you feel you know with someone that has a different view than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon on WHPR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet you all once again who are hungry and thirsty for the true understanding of the Word of God and for the truth in general. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam alaikum. They still blocking us on Truth Social?
No, sir, we're back today.
Okay. All right. I thought I would start with a lesson of by showing you the things that are happening. You know, most people in this world, they get religious, and then they think that they don't have to concern themselves with what goes on in the world. But every prophet that you ever saw, what did Jesus say when they got on him about having dinner with Matthew? He said, I didn't come to call the righteous. I came to call sinners to repent. How in the world, that's like a doctor that don't want to see sick people. If you didn't want to try to help heal sick people, you shouldn't have went into medicine. You notice, I don't tell you who are following me to go out and try to heal nobody or teach nobody. I tell you to bring them to the doctor like the doctor, which I am the doctor. You do them like you would if you had a disease or whatnot, and you went to the doctor, and the doctor helped you. If another one of your family members or your friends or somebody that you know needed some help, you wouldn't try to play doctor with them. You'd take them to the where you got healed at. Do you understand? So that's what that song in church used to say. It's a song that say, if when you give the best of your service, telling the world that the Savior has come, be not dismayed if they don't believe you. He'll understand and say, well done. You see, I told you to keep you some cards with you. And with the meeting times and my phone number and all of that on there. And if people go to ask you questions about something, or you see somebody going through some changes or whatnot, you give them the card and say, here, the Son of Man told me when I see people that seem to be going through some of the stuff I was going through, you know how to approach people. And you say, well, here, this helped me, maybe it will help you. Do you understand? And then you did your part. That's all you're responsible for, is to tell people that I'm here. Tell them that this is the Son of Man. This is who he say he is, and I believe him. And then you give them the card. And if they say, no, I don't want it, say, okay, I was just checking. And then go on, leave them alone. Am I clear? All right. So now, I think I'm going to start with the spiritual lesson first, and then take you into something else here.
This is 15-year-old Charlie Otero. On the morning of January 15th, 1974, Charlie left for school early to study for a test. He had a loving family and a bright future ahead, and his only care in the world was to make his parents proud. That same night, all of it would be taken away as he returned home and found his family murdered.
4 members of the Otero family were found bound, gagged, and strangled.
The investigators looked shaken. What they saw, it would shake anybody.
Fear spread quickly in the community. Doors and windows were locked tight.
We thought it was a one-off, a one-time deal. We were wrong.
April 4th, 3 months later, 21-year-old Catherine Bright is found stabbed in her home, just 2 miles away from the Oteros.
There's a pattern developing here.
What kind of leads do you have? Well, very honestly, we have no solid leads at all.
Every woman in Wichita was scared to death.
December 1977, police receive a letter from the killer himself.
How many people do I have to kill before I get my name in the paper?
Good evening. We have exclusive details. A new communication that could be from the killer.
Those releases weren't meant for the public. They were meant for BTK.
BTK.
We truly feel that he is trying to communicate with us.
Letters that contain puzzles. Postcards that contain clues.
It was very shocking to see a doll with the exact same bondage from 30 years before.
This is one of the most challenging cases that I've ever been involved with.
For over 30 years, a serial killer spreads terror across Wichita, Kansas, evading police at every turn.
Where is he? Where did he go?
If we don't get him fast, we're never going to get him.
But one man will do whatever it takes.
No matter what happened to me, I didn't care.
To get revenge.
I was going to shank him if I could. I wanted revenge for my family. That's all I could think about.
It's 1974. The Otero family are new in Wichita, Kansas. Joseph Otero, a military man with a zest for life, and his wife Julia, loving mother to their 5 children, do their best to build a future for the kids. Charlie Otero is the oldest, and the young boy admires his parents.
My mom and dad had this relationship of unbelievable love. You know, he adored her. This kind of love you wish you could find.
Charlie is 15 years old, a grade A student with a bright future ahead. He helps look after his younger siblings and only wishes to make his parents proud.
My mother cared for everybody. She didn't have a mean bone in her body.
My mother had told me that the only thing she ever prayed for herself was to die peacefully in her sleep. And that's the one thing she did not get. It had been snowing. It was the day of testing for school. I asked my dad to take me to school early that day so that I could get to that early study hall. Danny and Carmen had to go with me because they were riding with him also.
After school is over, Charlie walks home with his 2 young siblings, excited to tell his mom and dad about the perfect score he got on his test. As they approach the house, Charlie notices the gate to the backyard is open. He can sense something is wrong.
Walked over to the back gate, opened it up, and my dog Lucky was outside. So I said, "Hey, Lucky, what are you doing out here, buddy?" I opened up the kitchen door, and I noticed that my mom's purse was on the stove, flipped up. There was no sound, nobody. And so I was like, I yelled out, "Is anybody here?" And one of my siblings yelled out, "Charlie, come quick. Mom and Dad are playing a bad trick on us."
So I ran down the hall and I saw my mother, my father, and my life changed.
Joseph Otero, Charlie's father, is found lying on the floor with a belt around his neck. His wife Julia lays motionless next to him, also tied up.
As soon as I touched them, I knew they were dead. I could smell the fear and the pain that they had gone through. I could feel it all in the room. He basically died looking at each other's eyes.
Charlie asks his younger brother to call the police, but they quickly find out the phone line has been cut. He then takes his siblings out of the house and begs a neighbor to get help.
The police came, they took me away. I told the police to go to my brother and sister's school and stop Joey and Josie from going home. They cannot go home and find us like this. Bring them to me. I gotta have them with me right now. And finally, a police captain came up to me and said, "Charlie, we gotta tell you that Joey and Josie were in the house."
It felt like somebody had ripped my chest open and pulled my heart out.
Joey was just like a little man. I mean, he was already a lady killer, good looking, totally athletic.
Josie was a poet, an artist, very quiet. They had their whole lives ahead of them.
When police entered the house, they found 9-year-old Joey Jr. bound in his room with a bag over his face. They also identified marks in the carpet that show the killer sat down to watch the little boy. Upon searching the house, a cop went into the basement and bumped into what he thought was a punching bag. After turning on the light, he found out it was actually 11-year-old Josephine hanging from a pipe. She had been abused.
And I thought right then, there is no God. I hate God. I hate the world.
Now, at that point, that 15-year-old boy, with what he had been taught about God, made him, in so many words, curse God. Do you understand? If you turn to the book of Job, in the first and second chapters, in the first chapter, at the 6th verse, it says, "Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them." Satan is the son of perdition. The natural man. Do you understand? And do you recall when God saw everything that he had made, he said that it was very good. Huh? For what he made it for. Do you understand? Water is very good, but it has the potential to do evil. Do you understand? So if you notice, our brains are the nucleus of our being. Take the brain away, we are in a permanent vegetative state. Take the sun away, and the nucleus of our solar system is gone, and the planet dies. Do you understand? And when I say dies, I mean ceases to exist in the form that it's in. All right. As with the nucleus of an atom, it has a proton and a neutron. And they actually, both of them are charged particles, but one is negatively charged and the other positively charged. That's the way they talk about it. And in our brain, we have a natural and a spiritual inclinement. Do you understand? The spiritual is the higher, that deals with the subjects of righteousness and unrighteousness. The natural deals with the study of natural things and the nature of natural things, how they can be used and how they can sometimes be dangerous and sometimes useful. Do you understand? And that's what the natural mind understands. So we get in the scriptures and we say we have God, the first mind that God created in us, the first man, was natural. There were two atoms. Just like in the nucleus of an atom, there is two things, a proton and a neutron. So we look at that, and we have not cultivated the spiritual man or the spiritual mind. For that mind was being created while the natural mind was ruling. Do you understand? And being implanted in us, was being planted in us. And so I thought about what the young man, he's an old man now, but he's remembering and recalling how he felt at 15. After what he was taught about God, he, as far as he is concerned, wasn't no God. Didn't care about no God no more. Because God didn't care about my parents. Do you understand? And that's what happens when you are mistaught the knowledge of God. God has been a mystery to the people. If the reality of God had been taught to people, you wouldn't have nobody call themselves cursing God. Do you understand? Or as they say, turning your back on God. But the idea of God was what he was cursing, what he stopped believing in. Do you understand? And so this story of Job, where Satan, when he came and presented himself, for he have been presenting himself for the past 6,000 years. Even if the scripture says, then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Well, if he's yet to come, then someone is already here doing something that needs to be revealed. Is that right? Okay. And we created the jinn before. First. The mind that's in the jinn. That's why you got all these beautiful trinkets and stuff around you. Because that's what the jinn give you. The jinn gave you that. Do you understand? But the jinn didn't give you righteousness. The jinn is not righteous. So he cannot be held responsible for what ain't in him. Jesus said, my word have no place in you. Do you understand? Okay. I'm trying to show you why I'm the surety. I'm their bond. To let them out and pardon. As it says, return to the Lord and he will abundantly pardon. Huh? Yeah. I have the authority to pardon. And they kind of give you that, a hint to that in their way of ruling. In this particular society, in this particular form of government, the president has pardon power. Governors have state pardon powers. And you understand? Okay. And so That is, if they think that someone who's got life in prison or on death row or something is maybe innocent or it's just like if a person don't know how to do a thing, can you blame them for not doing it if they don't know how? It is not just to blame a person for, even if they sit back and watch somebody die that could have been saved with CPR. If the person who's sitting there watching them die don't know CPR, how can you blame them? They are innocent. They had no knowledge of how to perform anything to the person to save their life. Okay. Now, so Satan came among them. But he came, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? And then Satan gave the Lord his sign from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it. That's the cross. Now you understand why everybody from Hitler to the America, there's white countries, they have in their history the symbol of the cross as their representative. Do you understand? Even on their maps are broken up into longitudinal and latitudinal lines. It's a cross. And they call it a grid. But you can set the cross right on any grid. Do you understand? And it'll lay in there. You know, north, south, east, and west. And so, it says, Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto him, remember the book says, Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, and hypocrites, for you compass land and sea to make one proselyte. What do you mean compass? You navigate. How do you navigate? Longitude and latitude. Is that right? Okay, to and fro and up and down. Horizontal and vertical. And so it says, And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered, have you navigated your way to Job? Huh? Have you considered my servant Job? That there's none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man. He's a complete man. He's not a half man. He's a complete man. And it says, one that fears God. What's the whole duty of man? To fear God and keep his commandments. You'll notice, white people may have been telling you that they were God-fearing and all that, but you know they wasn't. They enslaved you for 400 years. Does that sound like a man who fears God's punishment? Does that sound like a man that knows God and that worships God? No. That man wanted you to worship him, and he gave you his picture and told you to worship him. Okay. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear God for naught? He said, Hast not thou made a hedge? You done protected him? A hedge about his house, meaning you done surrounded him with protection. It says, And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side, thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But I tell you what, put your hand forth now, and touch all that he have, and take it from him, and he will cuss you to your face. Huh? Well, Satan was judging Job by the way he is. Huh? Okay. And the Lord said unto Satan, Look, all that he have is in your power. Only don't you take his life. Don't you put your hands on him. Except on himself, put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yeah, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell you. And while he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. What did we create the devil of the jinn of? Intensely hot fire. Okay. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away. Yeah, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another. When it rains, it pours. It says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I alone am escaped alone. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And he said, naked came I from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave it, and the Lord hath taken it away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. And just in case you didn't get that lesson, again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Just like Elijah was to come before the Lord. Okay. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? And there's none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, that one that feareth God and forbiddeth evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin? Yeah. All that a man have will he give for his life. But put forth now thine hand and touch his bone and his flesh, and he'll cuss you. He'll cuss you to your face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. You can afflict him, but you better not kill him. Do you understand? And so Satan went. Satan forth. Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job. He had to go from the presence of the Lord, because if he had went out there and kept the Lord's understanding with him, he wouldn't have did all that hateful stuff to Job. And so when they come to us talking about they righteous and they Christians and all of that, they done left the Lord. They ain't thinking about the Lord. They got their own brand of righteousness. Do you understand? the righteousness that tells them that anybody that don't bow down to them should be killed. You understand? So it says, so went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown, to the crown of his head. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. So even she joined with the devil. And but he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil if it pleases him? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. And that's a lesson my daddy taught me even more so than my mother. Because I could get away with clowning and going on when my mother didn't give me my way. She let me get away with stomping my foot and acting a fool. But she simply said, no, I told you. And I'm going to tell you, Daddy. And then my daddy would come in, come here, boy. When your mama said no, or I said no, that's that. And he put something on me a few times, and I learned to keep my feelings in my pocket. Do you understand? Because I didn't clown when they gave me what I wanted. I was all smiles. But when they didn't give me something I wanted, they didn't stop being my mother and my daddy just because I didn't get my way or because they took something from me. They were still the same two people. And so as the young man grew up, he grew up with the wrong understanding. And that's the fault of this world. Now, I want you to hear the rest of this. I vaguely remember the BTK,
I really lost my religion at that moment.
The investigators looked shaken. What they saw and what had been done to the children. It would shake anybody.
This was an average, normal, nuclear family. Nobody could fathom exactly why they were selected for this crime.
Most people at that time thought it was a drug deal. We thought it was a one-off, a one-time deal. We were wrong.
February 1974, 1 month later. Charlie is sent to New Mexico along with his brother Danny and his sister Carmen to go live with an uncle. They're to start a new life there, but to Charlie, life has lost all purpose.
When my family was killed, you have an empty feeling in your heart. It's like it's not there anymore.
PTSD kicked in, started drinking, using drugs, trying to get the memory out of my head, trying to get the visions out of my head.
Every day, he catches himself watching over his shoulder, convinced that the man who killed his family will come for him too. All he knows and cares about is that the killer was never caught.
I should have been there. I should have been home. If I hadn't gone to school early that day, I would have been there.
April 4th, 1974. Just 2 miles away from where Charlie used to live, a 19-year-old man is running down the street with blood on his face when he catches a few passersby and begs them to call the police. He says, "Please help my sister. Someone broke into our house, and she's still there." When police arrive at the boy's home, they find 21-year-old Catherine Bright tied up with nylon stockings. She begs the officers to remove the binding because she can't breathe. The woman has been stabbed several times. After being rushed to the hospital, she dies. Her brother Kevin, who came out searching for help, was shot twice in the head, but he's in stable condition.
Initially, the Bright murder was not associated with the Otero killings. There were not a lot of similarities in the method of killing.
Catherine Bright had been stabbed, but the Otero family had been strangled. We noticed that the nylon stockings were tied with square knots, such as had been seen at the Otero crime scene.
In both crime scenes, the telephone line was cut prior to entry.
That wasn't enough to actually connect those two cases.
However, police are able to make a composite sketch with the help of Kevin, who saw the killer up close. Right away, the sketch is shared with every news outlet in the state of Kansas. Everyone is on the lookout for who might fit the description. Thousands of tips flood in, with no solid lead. October 1974, 6 months later, police finally make an arrest after one young man confessed he did kill the Otero family, along with 2 of his friends. The news comes as a relief when the local papers hit the stands. Shortly after, a news reporter receives a call from an anonymous man.
The person on the other end says, go to the library, you will find a letter and an engineering book.
The letter started out with, I did this, I did it myself, I did it alone, so let's set this straight.
It shared information regarding the crime scene that only someone who had been in there would know about. Josephine, position, hanging by the neck in the northwest part of the basement, hand-tied with bind cord, noose with 4 or 5 turns.
He wasn't remorseful about the Otero homicide. Somebody else was stealing his thunder, and he wasn't going to stand for it.
At the end of the letter, he mentioned that the code words for me will be bind them, torture them, kill them, BTK.
He indicated that he was a serial killer to be and threatened to continue to kill.
Since investigators are unable to trace the author of the letter, the man who calls himself BTK disappears, and for the rest of 1974, no one...
Now, remember now, this is written in the scriptures. And I want to impress upon you that before you can judge somebody, you have to let, if your enemy compel you to walk a mile with him, what did this scripture say to do?
It says go twain.
Twain means 2.
Yes, sir.
What that's saying is, that's one of the things that I respect now that I am a judge and have grown to the point where I can keep my objectivity. I can not let myself get pulled into and governed by my emotions. I have respect for the presumption of innocence until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, when you have a prosecution and a defense, what you have is the defendant has a chance to let you walk in his shoes. Do you understand? You walk that mile and you know what he did, but now go back and trace it again to see if he was justified. Do you understand? And the prosecution goes back with you to show that he wasn't justified in what he did. So, you know, you you know, I keep coming back to the fact that the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said, now don't go blaming them for what by nature you put in it. He said, blame yourself for putting it in it. He said, he did not make himself. It was our kind that made him. And so if you say there goes the devil, then you show the devil that you righteous, because he watching you for such. Where did you find out about the devil watching Job? He said, he faking. Is that what he said? He said, no, you condemning me, but he ain't no better than me. Do you understand? And so he was determined to show that Job was faking. And so, because why was it so important for him to prove that Job wasn't no better than him? Because he thought that after 6,000 years, he was going to be killed. He was going to be destroyed. And that would make anybody mad. Huh? 6,000 years seemed like a long time until you get down to the last 50 years, until you get down to the end. It don't seem so long then. Do it. Okay, so the man was angry. And so, your adversary, the devil, what did he say? Let's see here. This is the 10th chapter of John. And Jesus said in the 9th verse, after telling you that the thief, he can't come through the door, he climb up some other way. And so he says, you notice, now I have to give it to them. God gave them another way up to rule. They couldn't rule according to what's in the Holy Scriptures. But God gave them a way to rule that would, what you call, respite them. He taught them how to make laws and how to check, gave them this system of checks and balances. Taught them how to check the power that they give to the rulers, so that the tyranny and their evil would not consume them. In the military they have what's called fire watch. Well, in their government, that's what checks and balances are. It's fire watch. To make sure that when a man has had power for 8 years as president, it's time for him to step aside. Do you understand? Because if you're not careful, that man won't want to give up that power, and he will try to overthrow the very government that and usurp the authority of the people who put him in power. So anyway, he gave them this system of checks and balances. That's why he said that nation that we serve, he said, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. Do you understand? Because no one else is fit to judge them. How you going to judge the U.S. and you got a government, all these countries all over the earth? None of you all have a government equal to the United States government. So how can you call yourself their peers? And if you're not their peers, do you have a perfectly functioning democracy, or did you learn democracy from them? You learned it from America. You never had democracies. As George Washington said, he hoped that all nations would adopt the United States Constitution as their own. Because there ain't never been no country like this. There ain't never been no government like this. So the only one that can judge them is the one who gave it to them. Do you understand? So, now you know there's no way I could know these things if Allah hadn't taught it to me. You ain't never heard no man stand up, white or black, and explain to you the significance of the United States government. They bear witness that it's a great experiment that they had. Why is it called a great experiment? Because ain't nobody ever had no government like this. But the scripture says that beast, he was diverse from all other kingdoms. Okay, now let's go further. Now, Jesus said in the 9th verse of the 10th chapter, he said, I am the door. And by me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. Well, that man is standing here talking to you. You notice I go in and out of the scriptures. You notice I started with a news clip, and now I'm back in the scripture with you. Huh? And I'm showing you how, if you pay attention, I'm showing you how the news clip and the scriptures, they can be mixed with each other if you understand how to mix them. Do you understand? And it says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Okay, now, what did the devil say he was going to do when he was judged to be Aaron? He said, my Lord, as thou hast judged me to be Aaron, I shall certainly lie in wait for them. What are you going to lie about? Religion. How you going to get Job to cuss God if you don't first teach him a lie about God? Do you understand? That young man was taught a lie about God, and he wound up cursing God. Huh? He cursed the thought of God. And that's all the devil wanted to do. He wanted to give you a negative view or understanding of God, so that when God did make his appearance, you say, I don't want to hear nothing about no God. That's what you'd shut down completely. There's none so blind as he who will not see. Huh? And so that young man, he gave up on God. But now, why? It's because the devil have been masquerading as a representative of God. Do you understand? So, a lot of killing been going on, ain't it? It says, for the thief cometh for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Yeah. All right. Let's go some more.
Heard from the killer. 1975 goes by, then 1976, and still.
Now understand now. If you think that we talking about the flesh, you done missed it again. Look. You just saw a man that was given authority of the highest office that you can hold in the United States, the presidency of the United States. And he was just the 45th man that had that office out of 200 and something years. It ain't been but 45, now you at 46. Do you understand? That man didn't want to let that office go when he had been voted out of that office. So he started lying to try to steal. What did it say? The thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill. When the people attacked the Capitol, who sent them down there and told them to fight like hell? Huh? Got a police officer killed, and a matter of fact, more than one, but Officer Sicknick, I ain't never going to forget that name. An officer who actually was a Republican who voted for him. Didn't realize he was voting for a man that would be complicit in the cause of his death. And when he saw the Capitol being attacked, even when he heard that that woman that was down there pushing his lie, she got killed, trying to break into where the was coming through the jumping through the window where the members of Congress were, and one of the Secret Service shot her. All because of his lie and her believing in a lie. And he still didn't send nobody there. He didn't send no soldiers or nothing there to protect the Capitol. He was trying to steal the election by claiming it had been stolen from him. Huh? Can you imagine somebody coming up to you saying, you just bought this car now? And they come and throw a gun in your face and tell you you stole my car. When you know you didn't steal that car, you just bought it. Huh? But the police come up and they start accusing you and the crowd that's done gathered around. And this man stole my car. Well, where's your paperwork? You got the ownership papers for it? Well, it's mine. He stole it. Where's your ownership papers? He stole the car. What did they say when they asked, what crime did he commit? Let him be crucified. Yeah, but what has he done? Let him be crucified. We wouldn't have brought him to you if he hadn't done something. Huh? Liars always just scream. You know how babies that spoiled do. When you tell them no, they start screaming louder. Huh? Because their mom and daddy don't put some on their behind. So their answer to where's your proof is they just holler loud. Do you understand? And that's what they've been doing about the election. They went into court and the judge asked them, where's your evidence of fraud? They didn't have none. But if you give us time, we'll find some. Huh? Well, if you didn't have no evidence, on what basis did you declare that it was fraudulent? Ain't no way I could have lost all them people that was coming to my rallies. What? That's what he was claiming. Okay. So he came to steal, to kill, and he's almost destroyed the people's trust in their judicial system. Every time a judge get over him, the judge is a Democrat who's a no Trumper, a never Trumper. He's up here. That's like poison. When you find out you're dealing with poison, and somebody tell you drink this, and you say, I ain't never gonna drink that. Why? He's a never poison. He's a never poison. Well, I guess he is. I guess everybody that's got some sense is. They done seen how you roll. Michael Cohen said he'd take a bullet for you, and he said it in public. He loved Donald Trump. And then found out Donald Trump didn't give a damn about him. All these people that think that he's some kind of, I don't know what they think that nut is. But all he is a small-minded little poor excuse for a man. He can't do nothing and win fair. If he had any kind of decent plan for the country, you'd be able to say we need to let him continue this or continue that. But he didn't have nothing to continue but a pandemic. Over 1 million American citizens died because of Donald Trump. And he didn't give a damn, and you who supporting him, you didn't give a damn either. And you almost got me to a point where I don't give a damn about you. And believe me, you don't want me for an enemy. But anyway.
Word. Everyone in Wichita lives in fear, but for Charlie Otero, nothing has changed. Living 800 miles away, he doesn't hear news of this second murder and has never heard of the moniker BTK. Unable to cope with the loss of his family, he becomes prone to violence.
I lost all hope. I lost all desire to care about anybody or believe in anything. All I thought about was violence and pain and suffering. What had happened to my family became who I was. And little by little, I got worse.
1977, Charlie manages to graduate from high school, but he finds trouble wherever he can. Now 18 and no longer a minor, Charlie turns to the streets and becomes a drifter. He lives outside the law, stealing for food, riding around in his motorcycle. The smart boy with a bright future is long gone, while a new serial killer is beginning to thrive. It's March 17th, 1977, when BTK strikes again.
Police get a call from a man who says a little boy just came knocking at my door saying, "My mom is dead, my mom is dead, call police, a man killed my mom."
Police respond to the boy's home and find a woman lying dead in her own bed.
She was found with a bag over her head, tied with a ligature around her neck.
They learn from neighbors that the woman is Shirley Vian, a single mother of 3 children. Her son, 5-year-old Steve, is the one who called for help. It appears he witnessed his mother's murder.
How do you ever recover from that? How does a 5-year-old ever recover from that?
In my mind, I was 5, but I was 6 years old. Just turned 6. My mom, she was sick in bed. Sent me block up the road for a can of soup, you know. And on my way back, man stops me. Shows me a picture, woman and child.
Right away, the young boy can see the man is holding up a picture of his mom and his brother.
Asked me did I know who it was. I said, no, sir. He went ahead and let me go. About 15 minutes later, he come knocking on our door. I opened it, and there stood the same guy, and he had a gun. Mom said, do as he says. He locked us in the bathroom, put his kids in there, put a blanket, a couple toys in there, pushed the bed against the other door. I peeked through a crack in the door. I seen everything. Stripped down, naked, taped her hands behind her back, face down. My brother, he broke the bathroom window, hollering for help. I ran through the door, broke it. After I ran around and tried to untie the rope, I could have got the rope loose. There might have been hope. But I was a 5-year-old boy, you know. What the hell could I do? It's a image burned in my brain. It'll never go away.
Police now have 3 homicides. The Oteros, Catherine Bright, and Shirley Vine, BTK has become a serial killer, just like he promised.
You will find a homicide at Beach 43, South Cushing, in Nancy Park.
We received a call about 8:20 from an individual that hung up the phone. And officers came out, and we have checked, and we do have a young lady that is a victim of homicide. Was she shot or stabbed? No, she appears to have been strangled this time.
With us right now is Chief of Police Richard Lemunion. BTK is still...
Understand something. As you look at serial killers and people as just seemingly without conscience, without restraint of themselves, what you are actually looking at is people who, as that old saying go, like a dog who chases the car and catches it. The man who went forth conquering and to conquer, after getting what he was out there to conquer, he discovers that he done conquered everything but his own will, but his own self. He's gained the world and lost himself. Gained control of the world, but now he can't control it because he can't control himself. Do you understand? What profiteth the man to gain control of the world and lose control of himself? Then he discovers that that's the only thing that you have that you could actually say is yours, is yourself. And when you lose yourself, game over. You notice, is there a top, sides, and bottom on space? Well, then what would you refer to it when you get out there? A bottomless pit. So even if you falling, you ain't got to worry about it because you ain't going to hit the bottom. And that's the way you notice. The brain is like an avocado pit. Inside your skull, there's a pit that you call your brain. And without the word of God to control the natural inclinations of us, our brain is a bottomless pit. Do you understand what I just said? You can do anything because you have no bottom. Ain't no line there that say, I stop at this. I just want to. Nope. I remember this this brother that I worked with for a while. He said, look, the more you feed a hog, the more he eat. And when he ain't eating it, he'll lay down and wallow in it. so, you know, you think you can satisfy someone who does not have a conscience? The word enough is not in their vocabulary. It's like a fire. What fire you know of that ever says that's enough? The fire will consume until there's nothing left to consume. Desire is like that. That's why we don't just need the the proton, we need the neutron. We don't just need the neutron, we need the proton. Do you understand? That is when the nucleus is complete. You don't just need to know about natural things. You need to know about spiritual things to govern natural things. Do you honestly think that the military of the United States cannot defeat, if they attack the Capitol, that they can't defeat the Congress? But the Congress controls the military. The president, he's the commander-in-chief, but the Congress has to give him permission to go to war, except under certain circumstances. Do you understand? No one has autonomy. Which is a safety valve. So the spiritual mind it's like the atmosphere. It's there to preserve the life that's on the planet. The Word of God is there to preserve the civilization that man is inspired to build. Because without man understanding how to treat his fellow man, I don't care what he builds, the weakness of his desire and the things that it leads him to will destroy whatever he builds. Huh.
7 people, Chief. What kind of leads do you have?
Very honestly, we have no solid leads at all. We have general leads, we have circumstantial evidence, we have absolutely nothing that will point us to any one particular individual.
It appears somebody between the early morning hours of Saturday, April 27, cut phone lines to Hedges' home, broke into the house, and kidnapped the 53-year-old Park City woman.
We have an individual who apparently has the uncontrollable desire to kill at times.
Fear spread quickly in the community. People began looking over their shoulders. Doors and windows were locked tight.
The most important thing that everyone can do is certainly be aware that we do have a very serious problem.
The body was nude and police say badly decomposed. A pair of knotted pantyhose were found lying in the ditch beside it.
The murders in Wichita were all close together. Everyone within a few miles of the killer's playground fears for their own life. But those who survived know what kind of monster BTK really is. Charlie Otero, Kevin Bright, Steve Relford. Steve is now 20 years old, and just like Charlie, he lives a troubled life.
Steve, I've always felt very bad for him for what happened to him. Because BTK didn't just kill his mother. BTK really killed him too.
My memory of my mom took over everything for a while. I didn't care what happened, didn't care where I went, didn't care if I died. Still sometimes I wish I did.
Charlie Otero is now 34. His relationships are far from the picture-perfect love his parents had. He now has a son, a new spark in his life. He named him Joseph after his dad and his baby brother. It's a shot at redemption for Charlie, but in his heart, the anger and hatred has boiled up for far too long.
I wanted revenge. I wanted revenge for my family. That's all I could think about.
The year is 2004. There has been no news of the serial killer in over 12 years. Charlie has reached rock bottom. He's in jail, serving time for domestic violence for the last 4 years. He knows if his own parents were here, they would be ashamed of him. His son, who's now 16 years old, comes to visit him from time to time, but it only breaks his heart.
30 years ago today, 15-year-old Charlie Otero comes home from school to find his entire family murdered in this house on North Edgemore. And so begins the most infamous unsolved serial killing spree in Wichita history.
BTK might have been able to get away with it for the rest of his life had he not let his massive ego get in the way.
It's January of 2004. For the last 13 years, no one knows what happened to the serial killer. The media are doing stories on the 30th anniversary of BTK's first murder. According to the Wichita newspaper, it appears someone is also writing a book on the BTK case.
BTK did not like that at all. He did not like that there was someone else writing his story. There was someone else getting publicity for the murders that he wanted credit for. And good evening, we have exclusive details, a new communication that could be from the serial killer BTK.
Breaking in silence after 25 years.
The serial killer apparently has resurfaced.
Wichita Police Department on Friday received information. Wichita Eagle received a letter.
The letter contains Vicky Wegerle's driver's license, which was never recovered by investigators, as well as pictures that will shock police.
Pictures of Vicky Wegerle on her floor in her bedroom as determined were not taken by anyone in law enforcement, they were taken by the killer.
Everyone was in shock. No way, there's no way this is true. It can't be that he's still around.
But when they examine the return address, it reads Bill Thomas Kilman.
BTK.
In the following months, BTK sends a steady stream of communications to the news media, letters, puzzles, all accompanied by a plastic doll wrapped in bondage, identical to those of the victims.
It was very shocking to see a doll with the exact same bondage from 30 years before.
As the FBI told us early in this investigation, if you can keep him communicating, he will make a mistake.
Following facts about BTK are being made available to the public in hopes of identifying BTK.
Investigators become more and more present in the news, sharing facts about the case, giving BTK the publicity he wants, all the while trying to appeal to his ego.
This is one of the most challenging cases that I've ever been involved with.
Those releases weren't meant for the public. They were meant for BTK.
We truly feel that he is trying to communicate with us.
That was kind of an invitation to BTK to bond with it.
Between March 2004 and January 2005, Wichita police receives a total of 5 communications from the killer. On January 25th, the investigation takes a shocking turn. The latest letter is found in a cereal box, left at a Home Depot parking lot. Inside, the killer writes to police that he now wants to change his communication method.
BTK asked police, can you trace a floppy disk? Please be honest.
This guy thought that we wouldn't lie to him because we were enjoying things as much as he was.
Well, law enforcement was not honest.
They say no, it cannot be traced.
To respond to the killer, police need to post a message through the classified ads.
The response was to be, Rex, it'll be okay. My fear was that he would send us a floppy disk, that it would lead us to maybe a false suspect, and then he'd know we lied to him.
If this is a trick, BTK could disappear forever. However, for the first time, investigators have something they didn't have 30 years earlier: video surveillance from the Home Depot parking lot. The quality is poor, making it impossible to see the man's face.
Now, to this part, I want you to pay real close attention. Because it will drive the point home that I've been telling you about these people, and you'll discover that it's not shocking when you think about it, because the scriptures told us about it.
You wouldn't be able to identify anybody, but Ralph took one look at that film and said, that's a Jeep Cherokee.
This was truly the first piece of evidence we had that BTK didn't give us.
Just days later, a floppy disk arrives at the Wichita Police Department from BTK. Right away, forensics analyze the disks. In a matter of moments, they are able to find the software registration to a user named Dennis and the organization name Christ Lutheran Church.
Went to, I think it was a Google search, and found Christ Lutheran Church, and when he clicked on the officers, there was a picture of a man named Dennis Rader.
We think it can't be this simple. Maybe this is a setup.
Dennis Rader was president of his church. He was a compliance officer for the city of Park City.
Okay, tracking it down. The dogs are somewhat territorial as well as vicious.
He was living a normal life.
He was a Cub Scout leader. He's out there not only using knots, but he's teaching people how to tie square knots.
He worked for ADT, the alarm company. He's in your house installing the alarm system, and he's a serial killer.
And then we drove to Park City.
The president of the church, Cub Scout leader. You would never expect a wolf to be hiding among the sheep. But that's exactly what the scripture tells you. It says in the 7th chapter of Matthew, and I'm going to start at the 13th verse. It says, "Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be, which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that findeth it." Christianity is a broad gate. It's a broad way. Lutheran, Seventh-day Adventist, Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness, all these gates to Christianity. Look at the next verse. "Beware of false prophets." How do you know a false prophet when you see one? Prophets and preachers is interchangeable in the scriptures in some places. Because when Jesus told the woman about her husband and stuff, he said, "I perceive thou art a prophet." Huh? That is not, he wasn't prophesying to her. He was just sharing knowledge with her. So people, there are lots of times, remember it says, "How shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except he be sent?" What is it?
Somebody raised their hand.
Yeah, I know they want to raise their hand now because you want me to stop explaining this, but you just hold on. I'll talk with you in a minute. Now, the false prophet is known by what religion he represents. If the religion is false, how can the prophet that's preaching it be true? Do you understand? That's why he said, "Many shall come in my name, saying I am Christ, and shall deceive many." Remember I showed you Jim Jones last night? Whose name did he come in? This man was the president of a Lutheran church. Whose name was he coming in? Okay, now, unmute them. Yes, caller. Caller? They still there?
Caller, you're unmuted.
What you put your hand up for if you didn't want to talk? You see, I don't say things that I can't prove. You see, you got people that run around here saying, "He's a false prophet, that's a false prophet." You don't know what a false prophet is. You would have called Moses a false prophet, and you would have called Jesus a false prophet, like the people in his day and time. But the false prophets was the chief priests and the scribes and the Pharisees and all them people that was teaching something contrary to what Jesus was teaching. Ain't but one God, and one God don't need no 50,000 representatives. How many Secretary of States do the United States have? Don't the president choose the Secretary of State? So when the Secretary of State go somewhere, that's the only Secretary of State for the whole country. How many presidents of the United States is it? Sir?
One.
That's what I thought. So it's just like they in court calling Donald Trump Mr. President. What the hell you doing calling him Mr. President? That man ain't no president no more. You was calling Jeff Davis president while Abraham Lincoln, the true president, was in Washington. Is Donald Trump the occupant of the White House? Well, he's not the president now. Now you can, I can understand you can call him President Trump, because that's the way, out of respect, people do when they got a former president there and they interview him and say, well, Mr. President, what's your so-and-so? Because that's still what he was. Do you understand? But it's kind of hard to call a man Mr. President and he's sitting there at the defendant table in a criminal trial. And to show you, he's stupid to even want somebody to call him that at that table. He ought to think more of that office. They said, no, don't say Mr. President, just say Mr. Trump. But he don't give a damn about the United States. That's why he don't mind dragging that office into the mud with him. You are some stupid people. Anyway, but they got this wolf in sheep's clothing. So Jesus said, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ain't that something? What would you call that man? Would you call him something other than a ravening wolf? But he don't mind standing up there and call himself being the president of a church. Passing out Sunday school lessons. Grandma, what big eyes you got? What big teeth you got? Huh? Remember Little Red Riding Hood? Yeah. Okay. Okay, brother. What was it?
Yes, sir. Cyrus has a question. It's not on anything you're teaching on.
Look, don't try to change my subject, brother. Now, why you want to come in here and change the subject like you're not interested in what I'm sharing? No. I asked y'all not to do that. What is it?
And so then also, when he did that, I told him to get called in. I didn't want to interrupt you, but somebody else came on here calling himself trying to answer his question. I just had to delete that.
Well, I mean, if he want to listen to somebody else call themselves answering the question, he can do that. I ain't, look, I done spent too much time. And every time I come on the air, I'm proving to people that they ain't got no business listening to nobody but me. If they want to go listen to somebody else, let them go on. And, I ain't here to beg you to let me save you. A drowning man you ain't got to beg him to let you take him safely to shore. Now, but you see, they caught this booger, and watch what he look like when they get him where they need to have him. Yeah.
There was a black Jeep Cherokee in the driveway.
Investigators put Dennis Rader under 24-hour surveillance while they build the case against him.
Back in 1974, we couldn't even spell DNA. The technology, it didn't exist back then. But
Now, what did they say? They just watched him while they did what? They walked a mile with him. Give a fool enough rope. You know what rope is? Now, I learned this from the Orthodox world of Islam, to hold fast to the rope of Allah. And you notice most real strong ropes, they have 3 pieces to them, and they intertwine with each other, them big ones. And the rope of Allah is the Bible, which is two books, the book of Moses and the book of Jesus, and the Quran. That's the rope of Allah. And the rope of Allah is freedom, justice, and equality. That's what they gave that man. They gave him freedom, so he thought he was free. He had the freedom of movement and doing what he do. They gave him justice. When he spoke to them, they spoke back to him. And equality. He felt like he was their equal, so he started acting like he was their equal. Do you understand? And they gave him just enough freedom, justice, and equality till he put a noose around his own neck. Do you understand? So, now watch how they got him.
At the fiend's feet, there was a pool. The crime scene investigator had incredible imagination. He took a pillowcase and he cut it up into several small pieces, then he dipped it in that pool. 31 years later, a genetic profile would be drawn from one of those preserved pieces of evidence.
Ever since the coming of DNA technology, police have been looking for a match to that genetic profile. Now, they have the next best thing. They find out Rader has a daughter who attended Kansas State University.
His daughter, Carrie, she had a pap smear, and I was able to get a court order for the sample. I drove it as quickly as I could to our forensic laboratory.
I recall as being the longest 2 days in the world. I'll never forget the lieutenant called me and said, "Got the DNA back, it's him."
BTK is Dennis Rader.
On February 25th, 2005, police arrest Dennis Rader on his way home for lunch in Park City. As he is faced with the investigators who finally caught him, the serial killer who terrorized the state of Kansas for the last 30 years is stunned.
Lieutenant Landwehr pulls up in a Ziploc evidence baggie with the purple floppy disk in it. He slides it in front of Rader and says, "You know what this is?" Dennis Rader starts poking his finger forcefully on this floppy disk. And he says, "I got a question."
I need to sure do it, Mike. Okay.
Rader thought that Landwehr was doing this for the fun of it, that they had a good thing going.
Okay, because I was trying to catch you.
The BTK murder mystery may be nearing an...
Hear this murderer asking the police, "How could you lie to me?" Huh? Something ain't right up there, huh? Man had a good position. He didn't have to worry about nothing. But he was not satisfied, huh? What profiteth the man to gain the world and lose possession of his self? Because he did not see the importance of waiting on the Lord to come and put the mind of Christ in him, so that mind would balance out what was in his brain. He had the neutron, but he didn't have the proton. You need both to function properly. Do you understand? You notice the knowledge around that courses around your brain, the knowledge and understanding that you have, that's always there in your mind, that you can call on anytime. It is like the electrons of an atom. You notice they even call certain courses in school electives, and they also tell you you ask, well, what are you going to, what do you want to become? And you will elect to become something. And then you go to school and you grab that knowledge that you elected and it starts circling your nucleus. Do you understand? So, man, it's deep, brother. It's deep. All praises due to
That's right.
Allah.
Wichita police and city leaders confirming today that a person of interest taken in for questioning yesterday is in fact BTK.
The bottom line, BTK is arrested.
I believe most women in Wichita were very emotional that day because we really didn't believe it would never happen again. And you're like, we're finally safe. We're finally safe.
Although many in Wichita are relieved by the news of the arrest, most are shocked to learn who BTK is. People knew Dennis Rader for his role at the local church. For the family of his victims, the news is horrifying.
What could be worse than to piously pretend every Sunday that you're this example of Christianity? You can be the worst form of social sewage that ever crept out from under a rock.
The day Dennis Rader was caught, I was working to do landscaping. I got the phone call from my sister. She said they got him. I said, yeah, right. She goes, no, they really got him. They swear it's him. And I put the phone down, and I remember bushes flying 10 feet high over my head. I was ripping them out of the ground.
Charlie Otero, who has been struggling to put his life back on track, is confronted with the memory of his family's murder once again. Dennis Rader, the man who murdered his parents, his little brother, and his sister in cold blood, now has his face on every newspaper and TV channel in the country. For Charlie, the hate that was buried in a shallow grave comes boiling out, and now he will have to face him in court.
The man accused of being a BTK serial killer returns to a Kansas courtroom this morning. Families torn apart by the BTK killings will be able to look someone in the eye.
My mother died at the hands of one of the most disgusting social malignancies that's ever been introduced into this world. You always imagine the face of the devil. And here's this Elmer Fudd looking little oaf with a stupid haircut and a dumb look on his face. And I thought, oh, you're real intimidating. Yeah, you could probably scare a woman in the middle of the night, but you're just a little cockroach.
June 26, 2005. Dennis Rader is brought in front of a jury to begin his trial. Every surviving family member of each one of his victims shows up in court. They want to make sure the monster will be put behind bars. Steve, son of Shirley Vian, is there. So is Charlie Otero.
I was going there with the idea of getting my hands on him. I was going to shank him if I could.
All right, Mr. Rader, how do you plead? Guilty.
No matter what happened to me, I didn't care. I just wanted revenge.
Constitutions of the United States and the state of Kansas provide that a person charged with a criminal case is entitled to have a jury of 12 persons, 12 of his peers.
I wanted revenge for my family. That's all I could think about. I didn't know anything about how my family had died until he did his confession.
So I confronted the family, pulled a pistol, confronted Mr. Otero.
He said that my mother said that, may God forgive you for what you're doing. And it broke my heart to hear that my mom had said these things to a man while he's killing her family in front of her. I wanted revenge. I wanted revenge for my family.
For the next 45 minutes, the courtroom is quiet as the serial killer describes what happened to each of his victims.
I started strangling. I stabbed her 2 or 3 times, either here or here.
Most of them, like Charlie, are hearing the details for the first time. Rader speaks matter-of-factly, showing no emotion or remorse in the killings.
I proceeded to tie her up, a bag over her head, and strangle her. The kids were really banging on the door, hollering, screaming.
Charlie is waiting patiently for the perfect moment to assault and kill Dennis Rader when he gets a call he never expected.
When we returned from lunch, I was confronted by a phone call from my ex-girlfriend, the mother of my son, saying Charlie Joseph's been hit by a car, and he said he's in a coma. He'd been hit by a car. I told God at that time, I said, I'll give my life. I'll give you everything. Just save my son.
Charlie is asked to make a statement on behalf of his family, all the while not knowing if his son will survive the night.
My name is Charlie Otero. I am not here to recant the personal loss I have felt for over 30 years, but to speak for all the members of my family, living and dead. Not only my siblings and I, but the entire families of the Oteros and the Burgoses suffered from the actions of one Dennis Rader. Sons, daughters, uncles and cousins, a father and mothers, all lost the precious moments my family's very existence would have brought them during their lifetimes. He caused me to challenge my faith, changed my future forever, and separated me from the rest of my loved ones for over 30 years. Yet a son's love for his mother would not allow Dennis Rader to tarnish her memory. The lessons I learned from my father and mother transcend the evil doings of Dennis Rader.
You, Dennis L. Rader, to serve a term of life for each one of these counts. Those sentences are run consecutively, one after the other.
After Dennis Rader's sentencing, Charlie Otero left his anger in the courtroom and walked out a new man.
All need for revenge went away, and all I could think about was my son. My son woke up months later, a newborn child. God answered my prayers and saved my son. To this day.
All of you should remember that flesh and blood does not do anything but what the mind instructs it to do. And the mind is not flesh and blood. When you destroy the slave for what the master made him do, you killed the innocent. You're killing an innocent one. Because without that mind, before that mind took up residence in it, just like before a person get in a car and use it in a bank robbery, that car wasn't responsible for nothing that happened in it. Do you understand? Because the car didn't drive itself. The mind is the driver and the witness to what this body does. Do you understand? So, you may say, well, you saying let them get away? No, ain't nobody getting away with nothing. I'm just trying to show you why the book says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. When Jacob was wrestling with a man, he wasn't wrestling with a physical man. He's wrestling with a mind. That's what we've been wrestling with, the mind of Jacob, for the past 6,000 years. And now that I'm here, he got to let us go. He got to let me talk now. Because what? He ain't got nothing to talk back with to condemn nothing I'm saying. So he called up and say, you need to sit your nappy head shaft down. Well, if that's all you got to say, well, I'm on solid ground then. Because what my nappy head got to do with what's coming out of my mouth? You see. So now we know what happened there. I'm going to let you hear the last little bit of it.
I try to live up to that. I was wrong in letting what he did dictate who I was for so long. I take the memories of my family and use that to guide me. My family is with me all the time. And I do a lot of speaking on a message of hope and redemption, trying to get people to understand that they can change their ways.
After meeting another one of Rader's victims, Steve Relford, both men bonded over their common history. Charlie found a purpose in helping Steve fix his life, as Steve found a brother in Charlie.
Because of this common devastation.
It's just like what these the devils in Florida, DeSantis, the governor, and all of them Trump supporting people that's down there trying to erase the history, the true history of slavery and all of that, and don't want that taught in the school system and all of that. They don't realize they condemning themselves and their children to hell. But see, and you think that by erasing that you can take away guilt from your children. This is what you claim. You don't want your children feeling guilty. The real thing is you don't want your children to know how low down you are. Now, but in actuality, your children need to feel the guilt of what you did, because that's what will help in the remission of sins. You know, look at the term remission. Now, you had a mission to go forth conquering and to conquer. But now you see that even after you've conquered everything, you've lost your soul. So now you get a chance to return to the Lord for remission. I'll give you another mission. And the other mission that I will give you is to you go forth now and treat others like you want to be treated. And if you're willing to do that and stop your cancerous actions against humanity and against your own self, for whatever you do against humanity, aren't you human? Then it's against yourself. The evil that you do is against yourself. It ought to be required reading of what was done by the forefathers and some of the founding fathers of this country and by white people all over the earth. You ought to make sure that your children read that and understand that. And then tell them, you might not have known then. Did you see, tell you what, go and look at, what's that, the Ark of Truth. At the end, where the man that was working for a false religion, the truth came out, and he realized that he had been fooled. And let's see here. I'm gonna find that last clip there. I bought all these movies, you know. So you read it while I'm doing this. Fair use disclaimer.
Fair use disclaimer. The copyright laws of the United States recognizes a fair use of copyrighted content. Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act states, notwithstanding the provisions of sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords or by any other means specified by that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. This video and our YouTube channel in general may contain certain copyrighted works that were not specifically authorized to be used by the copyright holders, but which we believe in good faith are protected by federal law and the fair use doctrine for one or more of the reasons quoted above, including nonprofit educational purposes. If you have any specific concerns about this video or our position of application of the provision of fair use as defined by the copyright law, please contact us at patentagent1@msn.com or 601-786-1888.
It's over. You can't win. There's only one path. The power and glory of origin.
I'm sorry. I wish things could have been different.
Me too.
So what are you going to do? We're obviously never going to agree. Are you going to kill me now?
You can't take away my power!
I think we just did.
You will all burn in the fires of eternal damnation!
Not if I have anything to do with it.
You're no match for me.
I am now.
It's a little over the top, but it gets the point across. Back in 1975, I wasn't no match for no Christian preachers and all these so-called Islamic scholars and whatnot. Of course, I'm not that little child anymore now. I can deal with all of these false religious doctrines now. And they all scared of me. Where's your proof? Ain't none of them coming in here. I mean, here you got people claiming a liar is their savior. You ain't never seen Christianity do something. You ain't never seen nobody that professed to be a Christian that openly support a liar. When is that? When did that happen? Yeah. The truth finally done come out, huh? You know, the problem with that is that whenever you support a liar, like Donald Trump ain't nothing but a liar. L-I-A-R, liar. Liar, liar, boo-boo pants on fire. But anyway, you know, I kind of got that honest. You know, Elijah made fun of Baal's prophets and false prophets and whatnot. And Elijah is one of my fathers. So, you know, if I inherited a little of their humor, yeah, that I can't help that. It's a genetic thing. But anyway, is there anybody who say Donald Trump is not a liar? You see my point? Is there anyone who say Christianity is not a lie? The Bible is the truth. But the understanding that they've been teaching you about the Bible ain't nothing but a lie. If I raise that window up there, brother, turn them lights off right quick. Brother Michael. You see how quick it went dark? Now you can claim, or I could claim, that this room that I'm in is yellow. Or I could claim that this room that I'm standing in right now is blue. Or I could claim that it's orange. But when the lights turn on, all my falsehood is dispelled immediately. Turn it on. Turn it on. Turn the lights on, brother. So when you look at this room that I'm in, if I pan that camera around, you see this room is pink. The chairs are a shade of maroon or burgundy. So when the blinds are burgundy, that's simple to see. The ceiling is burgundy. But you wouldn't know that if everything is dark. Do you understand? Now, in order to support a lie, I have to make things dark again. And in order to support Donald Trump, you got to get people to go into false reality. You got to get people to ignore enlightenment, to ignore facts. It's a fact that Donald Trump incited the people to riot against the Capitol. That's a fact. And every one of you who listening to me and who ain't listening to me knows that's a fact. And you've been believing your own hype too long. That if you tell a big lie and keep on repeating it, people will start to believe it. Well, you keep lying to yourself. I tell you what, get hungry and stay hungry. And let somebody tell you, you fool, you fool, you fool. Let's see if you start believing it. Don't care how many people tell you, you fool. If you hungry, You ain't never going to believe that. Do you understand? You started off on a lie. If you keep telling people a big lie and keep repeating it, folks going to believe it. You done forgot that other saying. You can fool some of the people some of the time and all the people. You can fool some of the people all the time and all the people some of the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time. Which means eventually all the people going to know the truth. Now, whether they want to admit to knowing it, well, other liars like you, they ain't gonna never admit it because they are liars. And so God said, all liars shall have their part in the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone. I didn't write that. I just read it. And so far, everything I done read in the scriptures is true. So do you honestly think that I'm going to believe that that part was a lie? No, you got hell coming to you. So you just keep lying. You gonna, yeah. You gonna get what you got coming. Oh, let me show you something else here. Now, this is, see, the truth always comes out. It's dark outside, ain't it? Now, what if somebody just got here and didn't know the nature of the earth and how it functions? If you tell them, look, 10 hours from now, now it's dark out there. You tell them 10 hours from now ain't gonna be no darkness out there. Well, how you know that? I said, well, I know that. You'll see. Huh? And eventually, the scripture says everything that is done in the dark shall be brought to the light. Let's see here. Where's that at? Let me find that first. Brother Jamal might find it for me. But either way, as a let's see. 57 verse 9?
Yes, sir.
In the Quran?
Yes, sir.
Let me see here. I'll tell you in a minute. I'm looking for something in the Bible now, though. That ain't the one. Let's see here. I like to show you that everything that always like to give to people where I get something from. Y'all give me a moment. Here it is. In 1 Corinthians, I mean, that was a good thing you sent me to, but it's a reminder of this. In 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter. I think I'm gonna mark that one, so I may have to go back to it later. Y'all give me a minute here. I want to mark this because it's one of them hidden verses that you ain't gonna see unless you know it's in there. It says in the 5th verse, therefore, judge nothing before the time until the Lord come. Who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of God. That's right. So now, everything that's been in the dark is now being brought to light. Do you understand? Now, listen to this. Now the Holy Quran, it verifies it in that, what did you say, chapter 59? 57? 57 and verse 9, I think you said. It says, did you say verse 9? And those who made their abode, 57, verse 9. I'm in 59. It says, he it is who sends down clear messages to his servant. Well, that's what Allah did. He sent clear messages down to me. Behold my servant, whom I uphold. And so he sent these books to me. This is my inheritance I'm reading from. It says, he it is who sends down clear messages to his servant, that he may bring you forth from darkness into light. And surely Allah is kind and merciful to you. Yes. You'll notice, even white people, they may want to, they can't hate me. If they listen to me long enough, they can't hate me. Because they know that I'm not trying to harm them. I'm trying to help them. You know, I'm trying to get rid of that corrupt mind that we put in them. And if they acknowledge that we made them, I don't know why he think he can fight his maker. But okay, what is it?
Yes, sir. Rubenstein says Luke chapter 12 verses 2 and 3 are more accurate.
Okay, what you mean more accurate? Okay, but I ain't go chapter 12 what?
Verses 2 and 3.
Chapter 12 of Luke and verse 2 and 3. He said, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid, that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. You're right, brother. But as I was telling y'all, I ain't making this up. Brother Reuben, what did he say? What did he say this was?
He said it's more accurate.
Okay. It is more accurate. But as I told you, I know it's in there. That's what was the point. Is that there ain't nothing done in the darkness. All these secret councils that they had, as the Holy Quran called them, the secret councils of the hypocrites. Wherever there's two of them gathered, then Allah is the third. Wherever there are three of them, Allah is the fourth. Do you understand? Now, I'm going to show you an example of that. Now, look, man, if you think that you cannot be fooled into befriending someone that is your enemy, or befriending someone that you should have been fighting against, did you see Jim Jones? Huh? Did you see David Koresh? Did you see Adolf Hitler? Do you think everybody that befriended those people just knew they was low down? No, they didn't. And everybody who befriended Donald Trump didn't know he was low down. Con men couldn't con you if they didn't know how to make friends. They got books out, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a book. And I guarantee you most con men done read it. I don't need to know how to win friends and influence people. All I need to know is, what do God want me to do? I ain't trying to win friends, but I am trying to influence people. And the way you influence truthful people is to tell them the truth. That's how you influence truthful people. But you can deceive people who don't know the truth into befriending you, then you can mess over them, and by the time they find out, it may be too late. Do you understand? So, look at this.
Michael Popak with the Legal AF Hot Take. Why doesn't Lev Parnas and his revelations that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani conspired to try to bring down Joe Biden while he was a candidate against Donald Trump, and Lev Parnas has the receipts, has the video evidence, and has already testified and told the Midas Touch Network that Rudy Giuliani engaged in a pay-to-play scheme in which he wanted $200,000 in order to introduce Ukrainian leadership to Bill Barr, then the Attorney General for Donald Trump. But that's not the only video evidence that Lev Parnas has. I want to break it all down right now on this hot take. Let's back up. Who is Lev Parnas, and why does he matter? Lev Parnas, former Giuliani close associate, a Ukrainian-American business person who went to jail for his crimes and is now a new man, turned a new leaf, has paid his debt to society. He engaged with Rudy Giuliani. It's now been admitted. It's been admitted by Lev Parnas at the Jan 6 committee. It's been admitted in his allocution related to his crimes that he was one of the leaders with Giuliani for Donald Trump to try to tear down and disparage and say false things about Joe Biden, his son Hunter Biden, and Burisma, which is an oil company in Ukraine that Joe Biden's son Hunter was on the board of. All made up, all fake, all fictitious. It brought to the forward a prosecutor as well in Ukraine, Viktor Shokin. I'll talk about Viktor Shokin and the video evidence of Lev Parnas, Rudy Giuliani talking to Viktor Shokin, in which it's confirmed that there is no facts, there are no evidence, there is no evidence against Joe Biden at all, that it was all made up out of whole cloth in order to try to tear down a political rival of Donald Trump. Lev Parnas, among many people and those that are affiliated with the Midas Touch Network, has paid his debt to society, and he is a truth teller. And he tells the truth over and over again about his interactions with Rudy Giuliani. In fact, I'm going to play you a clip now that was just disclosed on the Midas Touch Network. Sometimes we report on the news, sometimes we make the news here on the Midas Touch Network. Lev Parnas, in an interview, said that Rudy Giuliani demanded a $200,000 bribe from a high-level minister of the interior in the Ukraine, Yuri Lutsenko, and because Yuri Lutsenko, who's no longer in the Ukrainian government, wanted a face-to-face with Bill Barr, the Attorney General. And according to Lev Parnas in this next clip, Rudy had his hand out and wanted to be paid $200,000 to arrange that meeting. Let's play the clip.
And lo and behold, 2 days later, all of a sudden, we get a phone call from the the friend of the general prosecutors of Ukraine, Yuri Lutsenko, saying, "Wait, we're in New York. We'd like to meet with Giuliani."
What a coincidence that must be.
Right, like 2 days later, to meet with the Attorney General Bill Barr. So, we called Giuliani. Giuliani was like, "Holy shit, absolutely, bring him in, because that's who we need. He's the one that could give us the current records." So we set up the meeting, and Lutsenko comes in, and it became a very awkward meeting because Lutsenko comes in with the perception that he is the general prosecutor, meeting with like the ex-prosecutor of Rudy Giuliani, and that he was on a mission to meet with the current prosecutor general Bill Barr. And he wanted to discuss criminality between the Templeton Fund and money that was going in from Ukraine to America. Had nothing to do with the Bidens or anything else. It was about a real corrupt money laundering scheme that was going from Ukrainians to America and then back.
Now, remember what I told you. I can't save this republic. I can save your soul, but I can't save this republic. White people gonna have to save this republic. Do you hear me? I can do my part to try to help you. But if you want to let other white people who don't give a damn about this republic tear up this republic, that's between white people. If they want to do that, that's them. You want to tear it down? No? Well, I ain't gonna help you tear it down. But I will help those who agree with Joe Biden, like that young man yesterday I let you hear, who was head of Homeland Security, and he realized what Trump was, and he started speaking out against it. Now, this Midas Touch that Ben Marsalis. He's a lawyer, and I think he's a professor. And it's young men like that, and this Michael Popak, and some of the others that's on that Midas Touch. That y'all better listen to them. If anybody going to sound the alarm and be taken seriously, it's going to have to be white people. Because white people do halfway listen to white people. Do you understand? Well, you better get up off your behind and do something now that you see your house on fire.
Great. So Giuliani stops him right away and says, "We're not here to talk about the Templeton Fund." And he goes, "If you want that," he goes, "you could hire me and I could help you with that." He goes, "But unless you have direct information that could help us with the Bidens and the corruption and Joe and Hunter Biden, don't waste my time. We have nothing to talk about." And Lutsenko was really taken back. He couldn't understand. In Russian, he would tell me, like, "Wait a second, I'm the general prosecutor of Ukraine. Like, I want to meet Attorney General Bill Barr. Like, what is the problem?" So I go tell that to Rudy, and Rudy's like, "Look, you want to meet Attorney General Barr? The way things work here, you have to pay a lobbyist, and they will get you in there. So you could pay me $200,000, and I will introduce you to Attorney General Bill Barr." So Lutsenko gets taken back again. He's like, "What the hell is going on over here?" So we stop the meeting. Giuliani tells me, "Listen, go work on him and make sure that tomorrow he brings us the goods." So that evening, I go meet with Lutsenko and, and Igor. They get drunk, and Lutsenko's pouring his heart out to me, like, he can't believe what just happened. Like, he looked up to Giuliani, like, as his hero, and all this stuff. And here Giuliani's basically shaking him down for $200,000 to go meet the Attorney General Barr. And, I did my job. I calmed him down. I talked him into it. I explained to him that, listen, how things work all over the world. And this is just how things work in the United States. I mean, you got to play ball to get what you need to get.
Okay, so now we've established the bona fides of Lev Parnas, his relationship with Rudy Giuliani, that he's got the goods on Rudy Giuliani, so to speak, in terms of the corruption scandals. I mean, this should come as no surprise. If you just listen to Lev Parnas, for instance, when he testified under oath to the House Select Committee for the Jan 6 investigation, where he said, in effect, I'm paraphrasing here, that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani and others have been lying to the American people from the very beginning. For those that question why, and I have some Republican friends that ask me, why is the criminal justice system being used against Donald Trump? And isn't that election interference? The answer to that is no. Try not to nominate somebody that has been indicted 91 times and against whom former associates tell the American people they are liars, and maybe you won't have a problem with the criminal justice system doing things during the campaign. Let's play the clip of Lev.
And before I let him play that clip, I want to add, what kind of question is that? Why is the criminal justice system being used against Donald Trump and he's running for president? Donald Trump has been charged with crimes. Unless y'all got some kind of proof that he ain't guilty. And if he is guilty, or if he isn't guilty, a trial will prove that. He could have been and went to trial if he wanted to. And proved his innocence. But all he's been trying to do is prove to you that the Justice Department is a criminal justice system that is not to be trusted. Then why does he want to become president over a corrupt government? And tell me this. He says that he thinks the president should be immune to any type of reprisals for any actions that he took while he was in the office of president. Ask him, does that go for Joe Biden too if he decide he want to have you killed in jail? Should this apply to Joe Biden? You see, he keeps saying that the president is immune. Then why does he keep accusing Joe Biden of anything? Why is he saying Joe Biden is corrupt, done corrupted the Justice Department to go after him or all that kind of thing? Why, he just said that whatever the President of the United States do, according to him, he got an appeal up there saying that you cannot prosecute a president for nothing he does while he's in office. And if you can't prosecute him, you can't charge him. So why is he leveling charges against Joe Biden for anything if he believes that a president is immune? Come on, tell me. All of y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of liars that support that man. You have to be a liar to support Donald Trump. His lawyer got in there trying to speak up for him for violating the gag order, and he had to get up there and lie. And the judge told him, you are losing all credibility in this court. You are losing all of the credibility of the court. You getting up here lying to me for this man? You done threw you an officer of the court. You ain't got no business standing up lying to the judge knowingly. Anyway, listen. Watch what Lev Parnas has to say once he woke up to Donald Trump.
Testifying before the Gen 6 committee on that very point. Let's roll it.
Honorable members of Congress, Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Raskin, and members of the Oversight Committee, I am humbled and thankful before you to show up before you today. I came to the United States from Odessa, Ukraine in 1976 when it was still the former Soviet Union. My mother and father and sister and I had left the Soviet Union, escaping anti-Semitism and persecution. While in Rome en route to Israel, my sister and I won the most important opportunity that we have ever been given. We won a U.S. green card lottery. My family came here with literally no more than shirts on our back and the hopes of rebuilding our lives in the land of freedom. I say this to you because I love this country. From shortly after my arrest on October 9, 2019 to now, I have been trying to share the irrefutable truth with you. The American people have been lied to by Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and various cohorts of individuals in government and media positions. They created falsehoods to serve their own interests, knowing it would undermine the strength of our nation. From November 2018 to October 2019, I was a key participant and a witness to numerous efforts to prove that Joe and Hunter Biden were linked to corruption in Ukraine. Rudy Giuliani, on behalf of then President Donald Trump, tasked me with a mission to travel the globe, finding dirt on the Bidens so that an array of networks could spread misinformation about them, thus securing the 2020 election for Donald J. Trump.
Ever try to break a bad habit and felt like you're climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops? AF to help make starting. You'll hear a lot of talk. There's a lot of palm cards and talking points by the Republicans when you meet them somewhere. They'll say, what about that prosecutor in Ukraine that Joe Biden takes credit for getting rid of? First of all, the prosecutor that we're talking about, which is Viktor Shokin, remember that name? He was dismissed by Ukraine because he was found to be corrupt. That's why they got rid of him, not because Joe Biden leaned on them to get rid of Viktor Shokin because he was conducting some sort of good faith investigation of Hunter Biden. He was getting too close to the Biden family. Therefore, he had to go. That's an interesting narrative. The only problem with it, according to Lev Parnas, is that it's completely false. So, and how do we know that? Some people would say, well, Popek, how do we know that? Parnas is affiliated with the Midas Touch Network. Maybe he's blowing smoke or sunshine. Well, let me play you a clip of Lev Parnas, Rudy Giuliani on the phone with Viktor Shokin, the dismissed prosecutor, before he was dismissed, in which you'll hear Giuliani say, well, do you have anything on Biden? Any kind of bribery? Any kind of payoffs? Is there anything? And even that corrupt prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, said no. Confirming what Lev Parnas has said all along, including in his testimony to the House and what he had to do as related to his conviction, that it was completely made up out of whole cloth by Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump in order to try to take down by fraud that which they could not do with the American people, defeat Joe Biden. Let's play that video.
Now, I'm going to back it up because at first I didn't hear the man say no. So I backed it up. So I ain't going to be out here helping you lie on nobody and nor lie for nobody. Do you understand? But the man did say no on the phone. Just listen to this.
I understand that. I understand why that's wrong. But was there any specific act that any of these people performed? Did they get a kickback? Did they get a bribe?
But I want to do that video.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I understand that. I understand why that's wrong. But was there any specific act that any of these people performed? Did they get a kickback? Did they get a bribe?
But I want, including in his testimony to the House and what he had to do as related to his conviction, that it was completely made up out of whole cloth by Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump in order to try to take down by fraud that which they could not do with the American people, defeat Joe Biden. Let's play that video.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I understand that. I understand why that's wrong. But was there any specific act that any of these people performed? Did they get a kickback? Did they get a bribe?
I wanted to do is sort of pull it all together, all these different disparate pieces of the puzzle that all tie back to left. Oh, we've had them. There's a recent interview that I think had a lot of views, but I sort of wanted for the analysis of sort of where we are, committed crimes. Donald Trump for 26. But I wanted to
specific act that any of these people perform. They get kicked back.
That time,
what I wanted to do is sort
Okay.
of pull it all together.
Yeah, I had to listen to it over and over, but the man said no, you know. But he said, if you give me time, I'll find something. I'm telling you, these people with something, man.
All of these different disparate pieces of the puzzle that all tie back to Lev Parnas. I mean, we've had him on the show. We've had him. There's a recent interview that I think has gotten a lot of views. But I sort of wanted to do it for the analysis of sort of where we are and why Lev Parnas is a truth teller now. And Michael Cohen also gets a lot of grief because they're like, well, he's a criminal and he committed crimes and he went to jail and all of that. And that may be true. And
You know what put Al Capone in jail? His accountant. If people that's part of a thing don't know, you see all them people that was testifying about what Jim Jones was doing and what they was part of that. Who else you gonna talk to but people who was in there? You look like a fool telling somebody, I don't believe you because you was part of it. Well, who you gonna believe? Somebody who didn't know nothing, that wasn't part of it? I mean, really. Everybody that have kept up with Donald Trump knows that in the beginning, Donald Trump was singing praises to Michael Cohen. Huh? And Michael Cohen was singing praises back to Donald Trump until he couldn't do it no more. Huh? Lev Parnas, he was one of Donald Trump's friends, his buddy.
They said in the opening statements by the prosecutors in the Manhattan prosecution of Donald Trump for 2016 election interference, they said that Michael Cohen is complicated. Michael Cohen is a little bit challenged as an individual, but that doesn't mean he's not telling the truth now. And I suggest the same thing applies to Lev Parnas. Lev Parnas has paid his debt to society, and he has the videos that the Republicans don't want to see, and we have the audio recordings, and he's public, and he's frank, and he's upfront about the Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, Lev Parnas conspiracy to try to take down Donald Trump. We follow all of this on the Midas Touch Network. Whether Lev Parnas was on this network doing interviews or not, he's a truth teller. He's believable. He's brought his receipts with him, and we need to report at one place on Legal AF and on the Midas Touch Network. If you like what I'm doing to kind of tie things together, give you that deep dive and analysis, I respect your time. I try not to waste it. Hit all the points efficiently. I do it right here on hot takes like this one. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Signals to the algorithm.
Yeah, and I gave him a thumbs up. I sure did. He did a good job. Didn't try to color it. He just showed some facts. It's just like what they said about what happened in the courtroom. Let me see here. This next one.
Popak with a Trump on trial update. There's no other way to put this. David Pecker is killing Donald Trump on the stand today. His testimony that's fitting like a glove with the prosecutor's promises to the jury in their opening statement. Those were checks the prosecutors wrote that now David Pecker is cashing all against Donald Trump. Let me explain it for you right now in this hot take and breakdown. David Pecker, the lead witness, the first witness chosen by the prosecution, being led through his testimony by Josh Steinglass of the Manhattan DA's office. They chose Pecker for a reason. And it wasn't just to get under Donald Trump's skin, although it's obvious that that's happening by courtroom watchers in the room. David Pecker is the closest thing we have to a roadmap witness. As a trial lawyer, I'll tell you, giving the jury as witness number one a roadmap witness to explain the prosecution's theory of the case, to explain the themes, to knit and bind together all of the evidence is oh so important. Not every case has one. Sometimes you have to kind of knit one together from various witnesses. But David Pecker, who was there at the heart of the original agreement between friends, as David Pecker testified, the 25-minute, now fateful meeting in Trump Tower back in 2015, in which they created the catch and kill program, or as David Pecker said, much to the, I would think to the chagrin of the jury, especially the women on the jury, this was the women's selling stories plan that benefited not the National Enquirer, for which David Pecker was the publisher. They didn't do it because they were making money off selling their tabloid down at the supermarket. They did it to help the Trump campaign. David Pecker made that point. If there's no other takeaway from the jury of what David Pecker says today in his testimony, in his roadmap, matching point by point the milestones in the prosecutor's case as presented in the opening statement, which of course gives newfound credibility and wind at the sail of the prosecution against Donald Trump. If nothing else is taken away from it, it's that there is a direct link between the campaign, benefiting the campaign by trying to catch and kill stories of sexual misconduct by Donald Trump and making sure it never sees the light of day. And because that's a campaign benefit, there you've got the second crime necessary to ratchet up the misdemeanor in New York for business record fraud into a felony. It converts it by a feat of alchemy from misdemeanor to felony when you have another crime, the second crime being benefiting the campaign, election interference / improper campaign contributions. And the heart of that, the linchpin of that testimony for David Pecker is Michael Cohen. Smart again by the prosecutors. They already told the jury that Michael Cohen is going to be a witness, that he's got some challenges as a witness because of his past, because of some crimes that he committed related to the Stormy Daniels affair, but they're now working to rehabilitate and bolster Michael Cohen's testimony on these particular points by having somebody like David Pecker up there corroborating point for point the things that Michael Cohen is about to tell them. Michael Cohen's probably weeks away from taking the stand, I would estimate. Before he even takes the stand, there'll be lots of this road work being done, this spade work being done by the prosecutor to prepare for the moment when Michael Cohen takes the stand. He'll already be having been corroborated by David Pecker. Pecker said Cohen, although not officially with the campaign for Donald Trump, and always said he wasn't officially with the campaign, was obviously doing the campaign's bidding. He told David Pecker, remember, sworn under oath today, telling the jury in a very conversational style and tone, credit and hats off to Josh Steinglass from the Manhattan DA's office. He's having a cup of coffee with Pecker today, which I love when I'm cross-examining or examining a witness. They're just going out in the woods for a cup of coffee here in front of the jury. It's very conversational, and he's getting a lot out of David Pecker, who is not on guard, who is not having his teeth pulled and giving his testimony. He's giving it willingly. I mean, it helps the fact that he was very close to getting prosecuted, and his company entered a deferred prosecution agreement with the Manhattan DA in the past, but leave that for another day. Pecker said Cohen would call after events in the campaign, like the debate in 2016 or the Republican nomination process, when they were trying to pick a candidate in 2016, and instruct David Pecker, as a friend of Donald Trump, just close friends, as Pecker said, to put bad stories, plant bad stories about Donald Trump's political opponents. That's the exact same thing we've seen him do against Joe Biden, but he was doing it then against Ted Cruz, trying to plant a story in the National Enquirer that Ted Cruz's father was involved with the assassination of JFK. And then Donald Trump, who's got a history of planting stories first and then reacting to them in his campaign as if he had just heard it for the first time, even though he's the one that planted the story. He'd have Michael Cohen plant the story against Ted Cruz. Then the National Enquirer would report the story. It's not really reporting. They would make up and publish the story. And then Donald Trump would react to the story as if he'd never heard it before. Right? We've seen that before. Look, Cindy Adams, who runs Page 6, the gossip column of the New York Post, forever, has already let it be known that Donald Trump, back when he was, a 30 or 40-year-old bachelor running around New York, would frequently call her, disguise his voice as if he was somebody else in order to plant a positive story about Donald Trump. So this is his MO, right? He was doing this in his 30s and 40s. And now Pecker says, he ties Michael Cohen directly to the campaign. Now he says, well, maybe Michael Cohen was doing it as a freelancer. Really? Michael Cohen just decided one day he was going to help Donald Trump out in the campaign? No. Trump wanted Cohen to call, this is obvious that the jury will conclude that Trump had Cohen call Pecker to plant a negative story about somebody and then use that as part to benefit the campaign. And Pecker already testified that none of these stories helped the National Enquirer and their circulation and their sales. It was all done, he had to concede, for the campaign. Proper sleep can increase focus, boost energy, and improve your mood. Introducing Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed help the prosecutors have said in their way of talking about it as if women were lying about Donald Trump, about sexual misconduct. I think we're beyond that with the Access Hollywood release of the hot mic moment of Donald Trump admitting that he would sexually assault women and then get away with it as a celebrity. The fact that Donald Trump's been adjudged to be technically a rapist in New York in the E. Jean Carroll case. We're beyond women selling quote unquote stories, but you see the vocabulary that was used there. The other benefit so far of David Pecker's 3/4 of a day on the stand is that he's confirmed everything that the prosecutors have said in their opening. He's cashing the checks that the prosecutors have written time and time again. The Trump Tower conspiracy, the TTC, as the prosecutors called it, the Trump Tower conspiracy. There's only 3 parts of it. 2 were going to testify in front of the jury: Michael Cohen, David Pecker, and they're going to line up fact for fact. And Pecker said this was just good friends getting together and entering into an informal agreement, not reduced to writing. Except he did admit that he went back to the owners of the National Enquirer and other people and told them this is a top secret agreement. And it was an agreement. An agreement it was. An agreement to help the campaign at every turn through the Catch and Kill program. And then Pecker, of course, is going to testify about the operation of the Catch and Kill program. We already know his testimony. There was basically 3 targets of the Catch and Kill program. 3 that got paid through Michael Cohen and Donald Trump and some by David Pecker. A doorman who will not be testifying, according to the prosecutors. They don't need him. Who got paid $30,000. He was the test case because he had a story he was going to go to the papers with about a love child. No, that's a bad term. About a child out of wedlock that Donald Trump fathered with somebody that worked at one of the Trump Tower buildings, one of the Trump buildings for which the doorman worked. Paid him $30,000, entered into a non-disclosure agreement. That story never saw the light of day until years later. Second test run that Pecker's going to testify about: Karen McDougal, Playboy Playmate. That was a affair that Donald Trump had while Melania was pregnant with one of the children, I think Barron, in which she was paid $150,000 directly by the National Enquirer through David Pecker, not because it benefited the National Enquirer, because they were trying to benefit Donald Trump and he was supposed to get reimbursed. And they paid her. She entered a non-disclosure agreement about her affair and her sexual relations with Donald Trump, and that story never saw the light of day. Sure, she got a fitness column in the National Enquirer, You know, when I think National Enquirer, I think fitness columns, right? Playboy Playmates. That's why she was in there. And then she got her $150,000. So because Donald Trump didn't reimburse Pecker, he got stiffed. Sorry, how to say it. Then the third story was about 20 days before the election. Talk about an October surprise. This was almost a November surprise in 2016 with Stormy Daniels. And that's when Trump told Michael Cohen, pay her off, pay her in cash. Michael Cohen said, no, we can't do it in cash. We got to do it by checks. There's audio recordings of this that Michael Cohen secretly made. And they had to pay it because Pecker wouldn't pay. He wouldn't lay out the money for Donald Trump. He got screwed already, so they had to do it through Michael Cohen. And pay and make it look like a legal service, a legal fee, a bonus to Michael Cohen when it was really just a payoff to Stormy Daniels. That's the books and records fraud to benefit the campaign. That's the second crime for the felony. Look how David Pecker is killing Donald Trump slowly. Now, I've seen reporting, including by one of the court sketch artists, that Donald Trump is doing something she's never seen in the courtroom to show that he's bored, I guess, oh ho hum, or he's really falling asleep. He puts his head back, closes his eyes, and ignores bad testimony. Well, then if that's the case, then his head...
Believe me, that's not what that means. When somebody is disgusted, and you know, somebody that is telling things that person that's disgusted didn't want told, and ain't nothing they can do about it. And, you know, all he could do is lay back and with his eyes closed and just think, oh my God, what is it? Huh? And that's what that is. You know, if you done ever been disgusted or whatnot, and you sitting down and you know, something done got out of your control or whatnot, whether it was something that directly affects you in an adverse way that you can't do nothing about. That's what that leaning back with your head back and just going limp with your eyes closed, that's all you can do. Do you understand? So, the truth coming out. What did we read? Nothing secret that shall not be made manifest. Huh? Well, what did the brother say? Luke, what chapter? Chapter 12. Jumping off the page. Verses 2 and 3. It says, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed. Huh? Neither hid that shall not be known. Is he going to say David Pecker don't know what he's talking about? I'd like to hear what that cross-examination had in store. Is he coming back tomorrow? Is he supposed to come back tomorrow? Okay, for Thursday. I want to hear what cross-examination going to come out. You know, how do you fight that? As it says, therefore, whatsoever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. And that which you have spoken in the ear, that you whispered in closets, shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. Huh? Man, it's all over the news now. It's all on the internet. Catch and kill. Huh? Okay.
Then straight up and eyes fully shut for David Pecker, because this guy is killing him. The lawyers know that for Donald Trump, even if Donald Trump screwed already, so they had to do it through Michael Cohen. And pay and make it look like a legal service, a legal fee, a bonus to Michael Cohen when it was really just a payoff to Stormy Daniels. That's the books and records fraud to benefit the campaign. That's the second crime for the felony. Look how David Pecker is killing Donald Trump, slowly. And I've seen reporting, including by one of the court sketch artists, that Donald Trump is doing something she's never seen in the courtroom to show that he's bored, I guess, oh ho hum, or he's really falling asleep. He puts his head back, closes his eyes, and ignores bad testimony. Well, then if that's the case, then his head must have been straight up and eyes fully shut for David Pecker, because this guy is killing him. The lawyers know that for Donald Trump. Even if Donald Trump wants to act like, false bravado, whistling past the graveyard, nothing to see here. There's something to see here, and the juries have wrapped attention as we predicted. They are taking notes. They know that David Pecker is an important witness. They know he's the roadmap witness that binds it all together like glue, the prosecution's case, and they are listening. They are listening and taking notes. And as I've said before, as a trial lawyer,
so I mean, this is this stuff getting really thick, man. And this next one, this is the interview that let's see, is this one it? Let's see. No, this one.
I mean, look, I would risk my life, my family's life, went all over the world, dealt with some of the most shadiest characters in the world because of Donald Trump, because I was so loyal to, because I believed he was honest and truthful and we were trying to do good for our country. And look who we turned out to be. I mean, and that's why I'm trying to scream at the top of my lungs for people to realize that these elections are not about policies. These elections are not about if your eggs are more or taxes are higher or the gas. These elections are about saving our democracy from a dictatorship. That's what I'm trying to tell this country.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Now, I remember one of our brothers is Alexander. This brother, he was loyal to Royal for a little while, and when he woke up to Royal, from listening to me, he woke up, and I told him, I said, you owe it to them people that you was over there bringing the Royal. You owe it to them to at least call them and tell them, hey man, I messed up. I shouldn't have took you to that man. Now, Royal, if Royal had truly believed what he was claiming, then I couldn't call him a deceiver. Royal didn't believe that stuff he was saying to people. That's why let me see if I can find it. When Royal, when Royal spoke about me, he, let's see, I think this is it.
So now there's one more thing I want to do, because there's a brother out there that attacked me personally, and I want you to hear this, and then I'm going to get out of here, because I'm going to play some tapes that what he had to say before, and but first I want you to hear what he said about me. Now this brother came and visited me out at my home, and then he went to Alabama. He was in Alabama somewhere talking to a group of people, and then he made mention of me briefly. And it was different than what he said at my home.
One who creates a thing, not one who orders
just a moment, it'll come on in a minute.
To build something out of that the essence was made by someone else. You've got to create your own essence. That's what God did. You did this out of nothing. That's talking this And when they get into it, they start thinking on it, and more knowledge comes to them, and their understanding starts to come. There's a brother in Mississippi, I don't know, the minister may have heard of him, he calls himself the Son of Man. We went down to see him, and the brother truly believes that he's the Son of Man. Because no one was standing up that he thought that had the knowledge that he has. But the knowledge that he has is full of errors. So I didn't call him. Yes, sir. We went down and seen him, and the brother truly believed to it, and they start thinking on it, and more knowledge comes to him, and their understanding starts. That's what God did. He did this out of nothing.
And they start doing this, and when they get into it, they start thinking on it, and more knowledge comes to them, and their understanding starts to come. There's a brother in Mississippi, I don't know, the minister may have heard of him, he calls himself the Son of Man. We went down and seen him, and the brother truly believes that he's the Son of Man.
Now, why did he say it like that? The reason he said that the brother truly believes that he's the Son of Man. Raul didn't believe he was Allah. He was faking. That's why he couldn't. He said this man really serious here. He truly believes he's the Son of Man. Do you understand? And just.
Because no one was standing up that he thought that had the knowledge that he had.
Ain't nobody got the knowledge that I have. If you think you have the knowledge that I have, stand up and have a conversation with me. And let's see how much knowledge you have that's equal to what I have. I can't find nobody to come in and talk to me. The Son of Man have searched the universe of man for that mystery God. And they've come to the conclusion that there is no mystery God. I didn't hear you. It's 7 continents on this planet. The internet is on every continent. If people are there, the internet is there. What did Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby say? Lil Seymour. Come out. All you who claim that you the Lord, or you the Savior, or you this or you that, why don't you come out here and confront me for what I'm standing up here saying? If I'm lying, come on in here and show the people that I'm lying. I done already showed them that you've been lying to them. Because I said everybody that's teaching a religion other than me is a lie. You lying. I'm the only one with the true religion of God. He it is who have sent me with the guidance, which is the understanding, and the religion of truth, that I may make it overcome the religions, all of them. Because in righteousness, in religion, I doth judge and make war. Ain't no bloodshed, just war in words. Then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the word of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of the understanding that he brings. He that comes from above is above all. Where am I coming to you from? I'm coming to you from above. The Holy Bible and the Holy Quran is above all y'all's heads. And that's prophecy. The Lord himself shall descend from heaven. What is heaven? The past tense of heave. Spell heave.
H-E-A-V-E.
Okay. Spell heaven.
H-E-A-V-E-N.
Okay. Heave in heaven. Well, now what does heave mean? Let's look it up. We ain't got to guess at it. We can look it up. Let me see here. Heave. Well, these online dictionaries is all right, brother. H-E-A-V-E. Heave. Let me see here. To raise or lift, especially with great effort or force. To throw a heavy object with great force. To hurl. Uh-oh. We take truth. Come on, finish it.
Hurl it against falsehood.
Oh, so we hurl it against falsehood. So what do we got here in the the Bible and the Holy Quran? This is what was hurled from the minds of the prophets. They hurled it against the falsehood that they was witnessing in the world. And God called the firmament. What's another term for firm? What's another word for firm?
Solid.
Another word for solid. Yeah, I know how it is. When we just ask somebody something right off the top of your head, it kind of like a deer in the headlights. You know, but it slips your mind sometimes. Them little words is got the most meaning, don't they? Let's see here. If something is firm, what is it? Generally.
It's hard.
Hard. There you go. Yes, sir. Strive hard against disbelievers and hypocrites. Be firm against them. We take truth and hurl it. And upon this rock, a rock is firm, ain't it? Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. All the gates of hell, and there are many. But they can't come in against me. Why not? Because the truth is the irresistible force, and the one that the truth is with is the immovable object. And like the tree that is planted by the rivers of water, I shall not be moved. It's just amazing. That's what the Word of God is. It's amazing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Yeah, amazing grace. Huh? The Lord's arm is not short that He cannot save. It's just that you wouldn't have it. It's not that salvation didn't come to y'all. You just didn't accept me. Because you didn't want the water because you didn't like the color of the cup. Well, okay. Right on. All right. You still believe in your daddy's lies, huh? Okay. Even your scientists have told you that light skin is recessive and dark skin is dominant. You get the recessive from the dominant. You cannot get the dominant from the recessive. Your scientists told you that. One of them named Gregor Mendel, and the other ones didn't dispute with him about it. But you are so dense that your daddies let you believe a lie talking about you descended from a monkey, rather than saying that you, and even that. What do you mean descended from a monkey? You should be saying you ascended from a monkey. Boy, this is rich. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm through with it. All right. I'm through with it. Boy, y'all had to be some stupid people to let somebody come and tell you that foolishness. And the sad part, you still got monkeys here now. But you descended from them, you say. I'll be a monkey's uncle. Boy, let me quit. See, I know things that people don't know I know. But I leave it alone. Because I like to have fun in class. I mean, we can all laugh at ourselves now. I mean, anytime that you really think about it, any joke that you make or I make about white people, then the joke is on us. Because he could turn around and say, well, you made me. So if I ain't nothing, what does make you? Do you understand? So, it's just like him. He turn you into a nigger, a Negro, and then he make mockery of you. Why? Just go to show you ain't got no sense. You made us this, and somehow it's our fault. No. It's always the fault of the one who made it, who made the thing. If a car proves to be unsafe, the maker of the car gets sued. Do you understand? If the airplane be unsafe, the one who made the plane gets the lawsuit. So now we got some offsetting penalties here. What I mean by that?
I mean, nobody's being charged because everybody has the same.
No, that ain't what I meant by that. See, you ain't thinking deep enough. We made the white man. We made him the devil. We made him that by what we put in him. Not by his skin, but by what's in his skin. We put that in him. He made us Negroes. He took the seed of Abraham and forced breeded us, and then made Negroes out of us. So all of the stupid stuff we do, we wouldn't have been doing it if he hadn't messed us up. He messed us up and made us into grafted devils. And we full of devils. What the devil say? Legion, for we are what? His name is Legion, for he's many. You know what a legion is, don't you? It's a running sore. Wherever the liquid from it go, it create another sore. And wherever the knowledge of the white man go, it created, among us, it created another nigger. He said they'd be self-refueling. Remember that? In the lynch thing? We started making ourselves niggers. I didn't hear you. Start reproducing, just like he started reproducing devils. Then he got his hands on us and made us black on the outside and white on the inside. But he gave us the worst of him. Do you understand? So he made us grafted devils. So that's an offsetting penalty there. Do you understand? So I just forgive everybody and tell all of you it's time to change. Get in the scriptures with me, get in these classes with me, and all of you will be changed into decent human beings. And we won't bring up the past no more. Okay? All right. Any questions?
Rubenstein said, to be more accurate, he was meaning spoken by Jesus, not Paul, not to disrespect.
It don't make no difference which messengers of God speak. We don't make no distinction between any of them, because all of them spoke what God gave them. So it don't make no difference who was doing the speaking. It's like a bold speaker and another. We'll name another type of speaker. Sony. It don't make no difference what kind of speaker. The speaker itself ain't got nothing to do with what's coming through it, because the source is all the amplifier. Do you understand? And so, likewise, as the Holy Quran says, we believe in all of the prophets, and we make no distinction between any of them. So you don't have to tell me that. I mean, if you sitting up some kind of way thinking that Jesus is better than Paul, that don't work for me. Unless you can show me in God's word that God said they better. He said to me, we sent no messenger but that he should be obeyed. The second pillar of faith is that we must believe in all of the prophets and in all of their scriptures. I believe in all of them. So you felt the need to say that. Why? I don't know. But that shows me you ain't been keeping up with my class. Don't come in here trying to make a distinction between the messengers of God. The word of God is one. Who was that had a question for me earlier that I didn't let him ask?
Well, somebody raised their hand.
Yes, unmute him. May wa alaikum ala salam.
That wasn't me earlier. But anyway, I was going to ask you, in one of your meetings, that statement that Donald Trump made when he was talking and throwing that out there saying, I'm your retribution. It occurred to me that you wrote an article a good while back in the 80s that was called The Day of Retribution. Did that have any connection to what you was
No.
Okay.
Donald Trump ain't nothing for me.
No, I wasn't talking about for you. No, sir.
No. That he ain't. Donald Trump is a fool. The fool have said in his heart that there is no God. That's why he don't mind panhandling the Bible. That's why he don't mind making a joke out of religion and lying, talking about that's his favorite book. And when a man asks him, well, what's one of your favorite verses in the book? Well, that's a personal thing. I don't know. Well, what kind of answer is that? That's the way liars do. So, no, son, that fella, that ain't got nothing to do with what I was talking about. What was that? What else was it?
Yes, sir. Cyrus asked, what is God's name? Allah, Jehovah, the Most High? I'm confused.
No, you're not. You just ain't been paying attention in class. Jehovah means the eternal one. Allah is the one that encompasses every name that you have known God by is an attribute of God's. Just like we have a prayer that we say, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Well, in Arabic, they say Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. But it is the meaning that's important. God is beneficent. He's a benefactor. He's a granter of benefits. And he's a giver of mercy. Do you understand? He is beneficial to us, and he is merciful. He's full of mercy. Well, that's what the truth is. The truth is all them things. And that's why we say Allah. Allah, the truth, period. And that means all and in all. The truth is all, and the truth is in all. Do you understand? So don't come in here telling me you confused. The only reason you confused is because you ain't paying attention in my class. I told you God is the truth. I've been told you that. And I showed it to you. In the 22nd chapter of the Holy Quran and the 6th verse, it says, that is because Allah, he is the truth. The Holy Bible says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I quoted it in a way that you could understand it. In the beginning was the truth was with God, and the truth was God. Do you understand? Why? Because God means grantor of dominion. Now, if you know of a grantor of dominion other than the truth, show it to me. Or show him to me. Show me anything other than the truth that can grant you dominion. I don't care what problem you got. I don't care what destination you're trying to get to. It's impossible to solve the problem or to reach that destination without the help of the truth. The truth is he upon whom we all depend. And the truth is independent of us. But we all depend on the truth. That's the truth. Any more?
Yes, sir. Sister Naomi said a comedian on YouTube called Trey Melvin stated in one of his skits, if man came from apes, who got left behind?
Oh, don't. That's just, don't pay them people no attention. You wouldn't even have to be, you wouldn't even be listening to that. Now, what kind of stuff is that? I mean, he was just a comedian. I ain't never thought man came from apes. I never did accept that. It ain't never made sense. When you speak of being the descendant, you check out monkeys and apes and whatnot. You You can't compare them things to human beings. No. Unless you use them as an example of how some human beings act. But a white man was like apes and swine when he was in the caves. These are they whom we made as apes and swine. You see? So it's many things that, but I defy you to go teach an ape or a monkey how to talk. You may train him to do lots of things, but you won't train him to speak. Do you understand? All right. So, anyway, I'm going, because in order to speak, he must be able to reason. You know, it's just like a parakeet. You can put some little words in his mouth, but he can't reason with you. So, anyway, I'm going to let y'all go now. May Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. And we thank Lev Parnas for his wake-up call. And we thank all of those who were once in Trump's camp that got a close-up and personal view of him and realized that he ain't nothing but a crook. He ain't nothing but a con man. He ain't nothing but a man that hates this country and hates its people. So, if he cared about you, it would have shown when that pandemic hit this country. Did he ever take responsibility for all those deaths that were caused? He suggested that he had did a good job. Huh? Yeah. What was the job he had did? He was telling y'all to walk around here and don't wear a mask. He was telling y'all to go out there like warriors. That's what he said. And then he sent you out there with improper equipment for the type of war that you was about to fight. If you gonna go in for instance, all them doctors, they were improperly equipped for that war that they was fighting against COVID. Having to reuse masks and all that kind of stuff because he didn't use that power that he had to declare an emergency and ramp up production of equipment for personal protection equipment for those who was fighting that war. He didn't give a damn. He wanted you to be weak. He wanted you to die. And then you sitting up there supporting him. That's, you know, when I was in Bible school, this boy, you know, he's the devil. And he said, you know, you got your the S word, boo-boo together when you can tell somebody to go to hell and they enjoy packing for the trip. That's what he said in the conversation of how to deal with customers. And I said, boy, ain't this something? If you bringing people your money, and in his mind, he ain't thinking about you. All he sees is a dollar sign. Okay. But that's the kind of world you live in. If that's the kind of world you wanted to stay in, well, you go on and don't change. Remember, I offered you a chance to change. And I offered you knowledge that you couldn't condemn. While I told you that everybody that's been offering you religion been lying to you. Now, I'm here with the true religion, and I'm offering it to you freely. All you got to do is come to class. I'm in class every day, Monday through Friday. Saturday, we have prayer service. Sunday, we back in class. So, sorry I held you so long, and I'm going to let you go now. May Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's salam alaikum.